In the 1960s, the Lubavitcher Rebbe would pray mincha every afternoon in a small synagogue upstairs. And he had the custom during the repetition of the Amidah that he would take his hand and he would hold it like that and concentrate on the prayers while the cantor is reciting the prayers. And then one day, out of the blue, the Rebbe did not put his head down. He remained with his head up. And the Hasidim around didn't know why the Rebbe is not putting his head down, as was his custom. And then a few days, the next day he was back to putting it down. And then over the next few weeks, one day it's down, one day his head is up, one day it's down, one day it's up. They couldn't figure out why. What's going on? Why is the Rebbe sometimes placing his head down, as was his custom, but sometimes he remains up? And then one Chassid figured it out. At that time, there was a visitor visiting 770 Chabad headquarters. And unfortunately, he had a disease where his face was severely deformed and it was very hard, difficult to look at him. And every time that visitor was present in the Rebbe's synagogue, the Rebbe would have his head up. He wouldn't put his head down because he didn't want to make the guy feel that the reason he's putting his head down was because he didn't want to look at him. He didn't want to embarrass another Jew. What a tremendous lesson for each and every single one of us. This week's Torah portion describes the sacrifices. One of the sacrifices was called the Korban Olah, which meant that a person would take a bull or a sheep and offer it up as a sacrifice. If the person, however, was a poor man and he couldn't afford a bull or a sheep, he could take a bird. And when he took the bird, he would offer the bird with its feathers as a sacrifice. It would be burned whole. And the Torah says the aroma, the smell, was so pleasant and pleasing before God. And the question is, surely it's not pleasing to smell a smell of burnt feathers. Burnt feathers do not smell well. And the answer is that when God sees a poor Jew give everything that he has for God, he can't afford a bull or a sheep, but he brings a bird. And the reason why the bird is intact and we don't take the feathers off is so that the poor man shouldn't feel bad that his sacrifice is so small. When he sees the bull or sheep that the rich man brings, he thinks to himself, oh, what's my little bird doing here? It's nothing. So God, in order not to embarrass the poor man, tells him, bring it with the feathers and this smell will be pleasing for me. Because what's better smell than the smell of a Jew who has not been embarrassed? Let us take this lesson to heart. Be kind to our fellows and not to embarrass anybody ever. Have a wonderful Shabbat.